What's going on, world? Welcome back to the MTL podcast. I'm your host, Tevin, Markyll, and Lawrence. We have a great show for y'all today. We are going to talk about the all NBA teams just dropped. Is that your team? Would you pick those gentlemen to be on your all NBA? Yes or no? And we're also going to talk about and wrap up our NFL draft winners and losers for the NFC this time. So y'all stay tuned. Let's get into it. So, the NFC winners and losers from the draft. Law, hit me with them.
So I'm gonna start with my winners here. I know you guys gave me some crap for it. The first time we talked about it, I went with the Lions as my winner.
What?
I mean, outside of that first running back pick, which I will give you, it was a little suspect, but like they had a plan. And maybe they know something that we don't. I mean, they're talking to these guys on a consistent basis. We know what we know from TV, and that's about it. We don't get to talk to them. We don't know what his character's like. Maybe his character's perfect for that locker room. Maybe he likes to gamble. Their second pick in the first round, Jack Campbell. I mean, his name rhymes with gamble, so maybe that's why they picked him as well. I mean, I'm just gonna keep spiraling here, but I mean, it was very interesting to see that the first four picks that the Lions had, they went Alabama, Iowa, Alabama. I mean, very good schools. Last year they were all ranked periodically within the top 25. I mean, Iowa's known strictly for being great at defense. Offensively, they're known for being one of the worst teams ever. But the tight end was the only thing that they weren't bad at. Tight end is the only thing they're ever really good at. I mean, you can look at Kittle. Kittle's up there. He's really good. Hawkinson. Well, they had an Iowa quarterback there not too long ago. He was pretty good. So they get Sam Laporta, and they know he's going to be pretty good out of Iowa. So he comes in there. He fills the basis for Jared Goff. I need that little check down every once in a while. I can throw it to my new running back, Gibbs, because, they had to let the other running back walk because they couldn't pay everyone. But, I think they knew they were going to move off DeAndre Swift. Man's always hurt. So, come on, let's just cut our losses.
Street clothes.
So, I mean, Jack Campbell at Iowa was a very good linebacker. He's someone who's going to be able to go in there and basically call your offense for you. I mean, not offense, they call their defense for you to line up against the offense. So I have no problem with that one at all. And I think the steal was Hendon Hooker in third round. The fact that they let Hendon Hooker fall to the third round, and basically, I mean, Jared Goff's contract's pretty hefty and big. We get it. So they can have the option to maybe talk him down to taking less money and moving forward with them, or maybe he doesn't want to. Well, Hendon Hooker's not going to be thrown into the fire. He's going to get a year behind a solid. That's not going to say Jared Goff's outstanding. He's not amazing, but he's a solid starter.
He had a good season. He bounced back last year.
He's someone who's going to get you enough wins to be able to be in the running for the playoffs. Yeah. Now you're just got to make your defense good enough to get in the playoffs. So I mean, you got a nice running wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown, a new nice tight end in Laporta.
Yeah.
You got a new running back in Gibbs who's going to get you the ball outside. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run with ease. A little high in the picks, but it's okay. It's here or there. Now they got rid of one of their safeties. They gave him to the Falcons. He's been known to have some off the field troubles. That's okay. Let's just replace him in the second round with Brian Branch. Brian Branch out of Alabama.
Oh, you mean Jeff Okudah?
Yep, Jeff Okudah. He's had a lot of off the field problems.
Not really on the field.
Yeah. So let's just replace him with a Nick Saban guy we know who's not going to have any problems, not going to get us any headache. Yep. Boom. He's going to fill in the holes right there. So then now, let's figure out what we can do. We need to fill up some holes, okay? Well, let's get a defensive end out of Western Kentucky. Some smaller schools probably didn't get a lot of publicity. Maybe he's really good. We don't know. We just don't know. But, he'll slide in right next to Hutchinson they just got. Hutchinson might teach him some moves. He's a pretty big body. Can't really go along with interior D. 5th round, let's just get some backup O-tackle, offensive tackle. Okay, we have 2 great offensive tackles on each side. One of them gets hurt. Let's fill them in with some Fuller, And then last but not least, round 6. I mean, North Carolina's offense last year was electric in the passing game. The fact that they let a North Carolina wide receiver fall that short, fall that far, you might as well just take him and see what can happen. It's the 6th round. You never know what's going to happen anyways. So overall, outside of that first maybe overtaking pick, but, we don't know what they were thinking. They saw running backs going off the board with the Falcons. That was questionable, but they saw running backs going off the board, and they had a plan. So they're like, well, crap. We want Jack Campbell, but, maybe we get Jack Campbell a little later and make sure we get a running back that we know we can win with. I think they did that. So then moving on to the team that I think did everything wrong based on what they need. I got the Cowboys. So the Cowboys' main problem probably was they need another wide receiver. You're constantly asking Lamb to do every single thing in the world. That's cool and all, but it would be nice to have some kind of help. But we're going to let your tight end walk, so you don't have a tight end blanket anymore. Your sure enough running back out of the backfield, he's gone. So now Tony Pollard's probably not going to be catching balls out of the backfield as much anymore. He's going to be getting pounded up the middle, and so we're kind of taking away your offensive weapons here. So let's not draft you a wide receiver until the 7th round. Okay, that's smart. That's cool. Makes sense. It's kind of what they do. You can argue that certain teams, maybe like the Houston Texans, did better this offseason getting some wide receivers than they did. It's kind of sad to say such a thing, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Getting Christian Kirk last year for the Jags was better than this.
Yep. So they didn't do anything to help their offense. 2nd round, they got Luke Schoonemaker from Michigan. He was good. I'm not going to say he's bad or anything, but there was other guys around, like maybe Laporta or yesterday we talked about the guy from Georgia. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Darnell
Washington.
Was it?
He was on the board.
I think Myers was too.
Wasn't Myers still on the board too?
Yep. There was still.
Was Musgrave too? It was a bunch.
I don't know about Musgrave. There's a lot of tight ends still on the board when they took Schoonemaker. He's good. He's more of a blocking tight end, which doesn't make sense if you get rid of your power back. Kind of questionable. So I get it. You want defense. You want some defense, but I think another thing, the problem with the team is their O-line is getting older and older and older. Well, they didn't address their O-line problem until round 5 with their offensive tackle out of North Carolina, which I always have problems with those kind of picks because, the ACC isn't really known for having the greatest defenses outside of, Clemson. ACC doesn't have any high-powered defenses. A lot of the ACC teams build their defenses around great secondaries because a lot of the teams are just about airing the ball out. So they kind of build their teams around, rushers, and airing the ball out. So corners, safeties, linebackers. Their weaknesses always have been, interior, except for Clemson, who does everything. Florida State, who kind of does everything. So 3rd and 4th round, let's just get 2 edge rushers. Now, this is the only thing that I think on this draft that they did right was they went after 2 edge guys. So it makes sense. I want another edge guy to come off the side. I've got 2 of them to pick from. Maybe both of them are good. So I can actually tell my all-star linebacker, you don't have to blitz every single time. You can go play coverage, or you can basically call the field and basically put yourself in the best position. You don't have to attack it every single time. You can hang back. You can just call it like you see it because you got good edge rushers. And then on 3rd down, you get your ass to that line and you take his ass out. That's what I need. That's what you should want. I think that's the only thing on this draft board that they did kind of right. On round 6, you got a corner. I don't really think you needed a corner. You got two good ones. I guess you need filler, but your team already had filler in corner, so maybe special teams. But then you got a running back. I get it. Deuce Vaughn. He was pretty good in college. His dad, is part of the Cowboys culture and all. He's part of the coaching staff.
Yeah, so I get it. He's a scout, right?
Yeah, it's a little sentimental moment, but I mean, you're gonna get Deuce Vaughn. You're getting Deuce Vaughn.
It's like 5'5".
Yeah, real cute. Stay alive now.
I don't know. Like he's 5'5", like you said. Special teams wise, I don't know if 5'5" really cuts it or helps you out. So I don't know about that one. Maybe kick returning, but we don't know. He didn't do that in college, so probably not.
He's quick, but I don't know.
I don't really know what you're going to use him for. I mean, outside of Tony Pollard going down.
Somebody else got to play that role because he gone.
So, I mean, there's a lot of questions here with their draft. I wouldn't say it's the worst draft. I think they did some things right, but you got to take someone who you think didn't do the best. I would just go with the Cowboys because there was so much more they could have done. They just passed it up on pieces they didn't really need, like defensive line. I mean, interior defense, I thought your defense was solid. You stopped the run really well. Maybe edge. Okay, you got two edges. But the tight ends, there was better tight ends on the board than what you got. You didn't get any offensive tackle, and last year your offense was hindered by the fact that your offensive line just was so old they kept getting hurt. And guess what? They just get older. So you're not making them younger by just keeping them there. And you didn't go out and get any big names for the position anyway. So, I mean, there's other teams out there that are at least trying. I mean, I gave the Bengals crap for their offensive line, but at least they went out there and they tried something.
They put money to it. You
just gotta try. That's the thing. You just gotta try.
Our owner's cheap too.
Right. $billion Jerry, and you can't go buy somebody. All right, those is good picks, Law. What about you, Markyll? What you thinking? Win or losing?
Let's start. Lawrence started with the good. I'm gonna start with the bad. All right, so I'm gonna have to go with the Falcons.
Dirty birds.
The birds,
poop.
Man.
Absolute poop.
And I do have to preface this by saying, if you look at it from their perspective, they're in the NFC South.
Yeah.
Their division, may or may not be the best. All right, so they think of it as, hey, maybe if we make these certain picks I'm about to talk about, we'll be in contention. So maybe from that perspective, they think of themselves as winners. But as someone who kind of follows NFL and kind of dissects this thing, I don't think so. All right, so just looking over their picks, let's start with the first one, right? Bijan at number 8.
At 8.
At 8, I don't. Did the Falcons need a running back? No. What they needed, if anything, was, I think, who was still on the board at that time? Levis was, if anything, they needed a quarterback. They're going to draft that high.
Everything was still on the board.
Everything.
But besides the quarterbacks. And,
the Falcons need defense.
Everybody,
so much defense.
And they need defense. Yeah. So, let's be honest, Bijan for any team would be a luxury, right? So, to take a luxury pick when you're in kind of like you need to build in a lot of areas, was not a smart pick. Yeah, Bijan is probably a generational talent. We'll have to find out, but from what we've seen in college, he's a great, great player. So maybe he will do great things for them, but in terms of the needs, not a great fit there. Let's go on to their second round pick. Offensive line, yeah, they could get better. They did have a running back last year that ran for 1,000 yards anyway, and Tyler Algieri, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like, why take Bijan when you already had a kid that ran for 1,000 yards and you still have Cordell? And then, I understand you're trying to get Desmond Riddler some weapons because you think he's the future and you didn't want to take a risk on Levis and all these other guys. Hey, I completely understand. And for the simple chance that you might be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes next year, hey, maybe just, take your luck for next year, right? But
yeah.
I digress. For second round pick, I'm okay with offensive line. I don't blame any team for drafting linemen, especially in the top 3, first, second, third round. If you need a lineman, hey, just go take a lineman, I'm not gonna deduct any points off of your grade, right? So I'm okay with that. I just don't like how they address defense in the third round. Zach Harris out of Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State players usually turn out decent, right? But but I mean, when you really need a defense, you probably should have gone for more like marquee name. And they easily could have taken Nolan Smith at 8 or Jalen Carter at 8 or even they could have even moved up to get Tyree or somebody. So just don't like that pick right there. And then they finished with defense. They drafted a defensive back out of Utah, Clark Phillips. Don't know too much about him, but he'll probably be just a depth piece. They got DeMarco Helms out of Alabama, another safety out of Alabama.
He from around the way too. From DC.
Oh, he's from DC. Okay,
yeah, he's from around the way.
Good stuff. Hope he does well. But I mean, if you're in the 7th round, they're kind of just taking a flyer on you. I mean, it's just I hate to say it, but that's what that is, right? And then they draft another lineman with the last pick. Once again, another flyer. Maybe he'll make the team, maybe not. That's yet to be found out, right? So, all in all, for the Falcons, when I look at the roster, the needs, and where they selected people, I'm just not liking it. So I'm gonna give them like a C+. A C+.
They had 6 picks, and they needed more players. So by virtue of that, because of how you started off your draft, I think that it was a precursor for the rest of the draft. Like you started off overdrafting your running back, and you didn't get any because like your pick was valuable at 8. So I know somebody was calling for you. You probably should have picked up the phone, took some picks, sat back and got somebody on defense, and then kept filling your team that way because they want these they want to get better by like having a full team and then they'll get their quarterback. That's what I keep hearing. But like, I mean, then you have to get actually good players. Bijan is probably it should be the best player on your team from your draft. But like, I don't know. That's just I don't know. If you need more better players, you got to play almost like the Cardinals. And I can't believe the Cardinals are getting credit, but you got to kind of move like them, like trade back, get assets, and just keep taking picks.
They had to play the board better, and they could have done a lot more to help their future success. So C+ for them. But we're gonna move on to the good. We got another one of the bird teams right here. We got the Seahawks, right? Their first pick, of course, I really, really love. I gotta pull it up real quick. Witherspoon, yes.
Cornerback from Illinois.
First corner off the board, right?
Dog.
He's a dog on the defensive side of the ball, right? By far, probably, other than Christian Gonzalez, he's, I mean, pretty much unquestionably the best defensive back in this class, right?
And to me, like I like corners that hit. Like I watched I think it was like some random highlight. You know how on YouTube you can find some random highlights. Dude came and just some wide receiver on the screen. I was like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the
guy. And for me too, playing corner in high school, like you could tell like a lot of corners do not like to hit, but you get the ones that love contact, love driving you into the ground.
Just as crazy, yeah.
Just as crazy. Got a little screw loose, you know what I'm saying? Those are the guys you want to go after. So shout out to the Seahawks for that pick. Then they also had another pick in the first round, and somehow this was probably the biggest heist of the night, probably of the year. I mean, there won't be a bigger bank robbery than this, right? I mean, they got JSN at 20.
These are Ohio State wide receiver: Chris Olave, dog; Garrett Wilson, dog; Jackson Smith and Jigba, dog.
And next year they got Marvin Harrison Jr. He's probably going. He might be the first. Honestly, if he has a monster season, he might be the first pick.
He might just be
over Caleb Williams. I mean, let's be honest. Like this kid he's the real deal. He's better than his. I might say he might be better than his dad.
I think at least coming out of college, yeah.
So. Great pick for them, even though, I mean, some people might say, hey, you already got Tyler Lockett, you got DK. Doesn't matter. You can never. Please. Doesn't matter anymore. Teams are getting 4 deep now, so you gotta stock. You gotta stock up on your wideouts, and plus, I mean, a lot of them now are commanding almost quarterback money. So the really good ones are going to get paid, and then you just got to keep refreshing and getting cheap talent. So it makes sense for them. And then we go down the list. Second round pick, Derek Hall out of Auburn. They need a defense, so they address it there. They got a running back, which is probably the only questionable pick. This kid, Zach Carnabit from UCLA, running back. He's a good running back from what I've seen.
He's a good back.
But did they necessarily need to draft running back at that in the second round? It's kind of questionable.
Like, I guess since they lost, they let Rashad Penny hit the door.
To let Penny go.
I think so because of Kenneth Walker. I think he got hurt last year somewhere in there in the season. So like, and he's a running back. So it's like the more that we have there, the better.
The better.
More talent we have.
So
he can play from UCLA. He can play.
Yeah, he was going to go in that range anyway.
Yeah.
And I guess because a lot of teams are doing running back by committee now, so it only made sense, even though Walker had a hell of a season.
He did.
So, it's questionable for some people. For me, I'm going to say it's questionable. And then, they just pretty much just took what was best available in my eyes. They have the Bradford kid from LSU, linemen. They need more linemen.
Mm-hmm.
I got another defensive guy in Young from Mississippi State, another defensive guy from Michigan, Mike Morris, defensive end. They got a center from Michigan. And then, the last two picks are pretty much flyers. So overall, Seahawks get an A. Early on, got two really good picks, address needs also. So anytime you can do that in the first couple of rounds, address needs and get steals at the same time, that's an A in my book. So Seahawks A, Falcons C+. Back to Low. What you got for us?
Oh, well, I'm gonna throw it over
you
to
already
Tevin.
did?
No, you already went.
Tevin. Oh, my bad.
No, you good, Brody. So, for me, those are actually good. Those are good picks. I'm gonna start off. Let's see. I guess I'll start off with my loser. Just keep the theme going. For me, it's the Packers. The Packers did not understand the assignment. You started off with getting Lucas Van Ness. I'm not mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
However, like we talked about, it's pick 13 because of the Jets pick. Because of what the pick means, that's why you can't make that pick. You got to have somebody because basically what I'm understanding is he's got to be either Clay Matthews or enough of to make up for the fact that you traded your Hall of Fame quarterback and now you got Lucas Van Ness. You know what I'm saying? He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. They're going to use him in their multiple fronts. But I just don't think he was 13 pick worthy. I think he could have moved back, played the board a little better because he was going to slide. I don't think anybody was going to take him within the top 20 picks. That's just me. Somebody might have, but that's just me. And I think you needed to go and start ahead and look at the best wide receivers. I know that's not what you want to do, but the reason why you don't have this Hall of Fame quarterback is because of what you want to do. You want to say, oh, we get guys like Devontae Adams, late round pick. We get Donald Drivers and, whoever else you want to talk about. We get guys who can fit a position and, end up developing and yada, 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 because it's the quarterback. Our quarterback, we take high. They make the wide receivers better. Cool. All right, cool. But this is 2023. All right. And how many Super Bowls have you won with that formula? With that quarterback, with your Hall of Fame quarterback, with the two Hall of Fame quarterbacks that you have, even though, Brett's a bum, you got two, from a personality standpoint. But other than that, he was a dog, but he's a bum and the purse.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
You got only two Super Bowls out of having two of the top, probably let's say top 15 quarterbacks of all time.
Easily.
That's all you got. Come on, your formula is not necessarily tried and true like that. That's all I'm saying. So getting Lucas Van Ness, like I said, if he can pan out to be a dog, okay, cool. I'm not mad at the pick, but I just feel like you kind of overdrafted. Could have played the board better. Go to round 2, you got Luke Musgrave, tight end. You finally address pass catcher.
Yeah.
I'm not actually, I'm never gonna be mad at a team for getting tight end. You got to control the middle of the field. It's simple, especially for, I guess, a young but veteran quarterback. Like, he doesn't have as much playing experience in this league.
Nah.
You're going to need a security blanket. So I'm not mad at that pick. Could they have probably went ahead in that 13? Might as well have just took a tight end there, doubled down, and got another one. Hey, you can run 22 personnel. I'm not even mad at you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you just didn't understand the assignment. That's just me. Another, you got a wide receiver. They trying to do this late round pick stuff. If you can call a second round late, it's pretty late. Pick 19 with Jaden Reed. Michigan State, he all right. He might be able to do a couple things. 5'11", 187, jitterbug kind of dude. We'll see what he can do. They did go and get another tight end. So they I guess agree with my sentiment to doubling down. They got Tucker Kraft in the 3rd round. But he might be okay. I mean, I feel like because you had to pick your tight ends. You had Michael Myers still on the board, Dalton Kincaid still on the board. I feel like they'll probably, I mean, just by virtue of, like, if you look at the draft board from a talent standpoint, those two guys were ahead of this Tucker guy. So you probably could have used, like, flip that pick to move back up and get somebody or something like that. I don't know. And then they just got a whole bunch of more depth pieces. The only next guy that I like on this list is actually I don't like anybody else on this list. It's just gonna be a bunch of guys. Like, they got another, I guess if you want to say DMV guy, I don't even want to put his first name out there, but Wicks, wide receiver from Virginia in the 5th round.
Yeah, from UVA. He's good.
Yeah.
I watch a couple. I watch UVA games all the time. He's good. He's good.
Okay. So, I mean, like, they're going to do their whole, like, develop wide receiver, pass catcher type of thing. And, like, that's cool. But you had Aaron Rodgers, you had Brett Favre. It's different when you're asking Jordan Love to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's unproven.
It's different. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Don Capers is still on he's not still their defensive coordinator, right?
No.
So I hope you know how to use Lucas Van Ness, because that's exactly going to be the problem. Like, do you know how to even use the man like that? You got rid of Preston, because remember, they had Preston Smith and Za'Darius Smith. When they were on the team, they had some solid moments. They were pretty much your bookends they played 3-4, so they're your bookends without playing defensive end. They're outside rush guys. Both at pretty much was in their prime at that point. I guess they're trying to do that with Rashard Gary, and then adding this young man Lucas Van Ness. I just hope from a talent standpoint that it matches up. But I mean, like I said, Lucas is kind of built out of a factory now. He's not no scrub looking dude, so he should be able to hold up at the point of attack, and they can put his hand down in the dirt, and walk him down the line of scrimmage and do things like that. So, like I said, I don't necessarily think that they understood the assignment. I'll just have to see what happens going forward. But it's a mid, and then they got a bunch of, like, mid players. So it's like you just have to see, like, of course, somebody by virtue of just numbers is supposed to, be a let's say at worst a star or a player you hear about on your team. Like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. So by virtue of numbers, maybe. But I just don't think the Packers did the best job, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and I'll give him a C. I'll give him just a C. I'm not plus or minus. I'll just give him a C.
Oh yeah.
Now, people are gonna be sick of hearing this. I'm pretty sure everybody's already heard this, but one of the top, I'd say, 4 teams that had a draft was the Philadelphia Eagles. They had an A draft by virtue of just, even if you just was like, okay, Jalen Carter, okay, y'all lucked up with that one. By the way of how you got the pick, swapping you had 3 first round picks last year. Patient enough to move one, stash it, could have had a higher pick, so you didn't even have to move up with the Chicago Bears to get, Jalen Carter. The fact that he moved, that somehow, some way he was able to move down the board because he was going to be the Chicago Bears' #1 pick, and it would have been like Trayvon Walker and now Jalen Carter, back-to-back Georgia's defensive players go #1 overall. Beautiful story. He drops we know why, but like he drops for some reason, but not from a talent standpoint. So you're able to get one of the better talents, if not one of the best players overall in the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
Add him to a defensive line that I think like he's not, of course, like you can't put the expectation on him as a rookie to be able to feel what Javon Hargrave, was for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he's going to be already a better run defender, and run defense was one of their problems last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they let a 7th round pick Pachinko, he can play, but like they was letting him dog them. Like
ran all over them.
He was doing his wiggle in the end zone, like he was boogieing on them. So, you saw if anything, and you have Jordan Davis. So like if anything, like he helps in that way. And I think he can help, your pass rush in terms of like he may not be able to get, I think Hargrave had like 11 sacks. If he gives you half of that, if he gives me like 7, if he give me 6.5, I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? I'm really not mad at it. I got other guys to kind of fill that void. So, it's a strength by committee, and he was one of the better players on the board, period. So, I mean, you're not mad at that. But even if you took that away, the fact that they were able to sit there at 30 and still get a legitimate dog, that just shows you they just know what they're doing. That just shows you they know what they're doing. Like, how many teams need a Nolan Smith? Like, how many teams run a 3-4? At least like half the league, if not more, runs a 3-4.
Yeah, nowadays,
Nolan Smith fits pretty much half the teams in the league. And he don't have the off-field stuff. He was like one of the leaders on a team that won back-to-back national championships. Like, how do you let that dude slip to a team that just went to the Super Bowl? I just don't get that. And just for Howie to stay there, the Eagles general manager Howie Roseman to stay there and kind of just watch the board play out by teams overdrafting, because teams overdrafted. Teams took, like the Lions, they took a Jack Campbell when they probably could have used a Nolan Smith, another dude who you could kind of tween. If you want to take a Mike, we may, because like the Mike position is very valuable.
Oh yeah.
But some teams overdraft at Mike and then they get upset. So like the Bucks, technically they didn't overdraft when they got what's his name? White. I don't remember his first, Devin White. He's a dog. But like the last time we really had a Mike that got drafted within the first round, like fairly high, we would say Ray Lewis was like the last dog that played Mike linebacker. And he got drafted in the first round pretty high. So, I mean, it depends. Like, if you're going to take a Mike, he's got to be like one of those ones. So, yeah, we'll see. But like I said, Nolan Smith, like, for him to be sitting on the board when Lucas Van Ness went before him and Jack Campbell went before him, it's like we'll see. But he's got the bend, athleticism, and he don't have to come in right away and play. Like, he's pretty much a Hassan Reddick, and he gets to literally watch the dude he's comped, his player comp, every day in practice, every day in meetings, and in the game. Like, that's dog stuff. That's dog stuff. Tyler Steen, offensive tackle, guard, Alabama. I mean, you got an Alabama offensive lineman. Do I need to say too much? You know what
Not
I mean?
much more needs to be said.
You gotta say too much.
Some big old boys.
Too. Yeah. The guy can play too. Like, I've seen him, move people out the way. He's not as like a mauler kind of dude. They could probably piss him off a little bit more and make him that, but he's good. He has enough technique, good feet, good hips. He'll be able to fit on that offensive line and learn. And I think he may be able to compete for a starting job. So within the first 3 picks, you got dudes who could either start day 1 or start, let's say, day 2. That's not bad. That's what the whole draft is set up for you to do. Especially when you got a Nolan Smith at 30, like, you can start him. Sidney Brown, safety, DB, but he's primary safety from Illinois. Dog. He was a leader in that secondary with a Devon Witherspoon out there. Like, if he sets the tone, you got to be able to pick up some of that slack. And he understood his assignment on a lot of plays, throws his body around. We'll see if that doesn't typically last. Like Bob Sanders, if y'all remember him, like, he had some plays, he had some time in the league, but that throwing your body around Jamal Adams, that don't work for your remainder of your career. So be a little smarter. Like your first 2 years, maybe you throw your body around.
You're not gonna last too long, like you said.
By year 3, you gotta start playing. You gotta take your head out the game, big fella. You got to start being smart about these things, big fella. Then they was able to get another, and I know like they're like, oh well, the Georgia players, like it's all Georgia. I mean, they're just picking who's on the board. And Killing Ringo is played in big time games, closed one game out, the last national championship that they won. Before this one, he was a number 1 target, so people were like, you can't not target him. So we got to go somewhere with the ball, and to have that kind of pressure on him, I mean, that can make or break some dudes. Did it break him? He didn't have the best season. Dudes was eating him, but like I said, at the same point, like having a number 1 corner, like having that target on your back, it's different when you in college. Like if you already in college, like, all right, he's gonna be the number 1 corner, like going into next season, everybody's going to offenses are specifically going to scheme for you. That's just what it is. Like college football, there's too many teams, there's too many offensive coordinators. Everybody's a freaking genius. Everybody want to throw the ball. I mean, get a dude a little slack. He's got the measurables in the 6 foot range, almost 200 pounds. Like he can play, and he's played high level football, and he's played against the Marvin Harrison Juniors. He's played against some of these SEC boys that have been running and tearing up the league. So give him some time, and he don't have to start. That's the beautiful thing about this. He don't have to be like, all right, get out there now. Need you to play the X. Need you to play somebody's Y. And I need you to shut them down. No, he's playing like, he'll be lucky if you see the field. You got all pros at both sides of the field with James Bradbury and Darius Slay. And in the inside, people don't really talk about him, but Anthony Maddox can play. He's a corner. He's their slot corner. So at best, he's fighting for a 4th cornerback. And I got him in the 4th round. Like, what?
Yeah. Expect to see him on like dime packages and whatnot.
What I'm saying? And he could play in that as you said, dime. He can also play if you go big nickel. You can put him in the box. He's not as physical as a Witherspoon, but he'll tackle. He'll do what is required. So I'm not mad at the pick at all. They got Tanner McKee. I thought that was the only like, I want to say questionable pick. Quarterback from Stanford. The dude can play. I'm not mad at that, but
Minshew left though, right?
Minshew, he was supposed to. So he couldn't beat
Minshew's in the Colts.
Yeah, Gardner Minshew couldn't beat the Saints, and he couldn't beat the
Cowboys.
Which is fair. I mean, he put
up 40
points.
though.
He did put up some points, but then I think he had like 2 picks, and I think the last interception that he had pretty much lost them the game. So
yeah, but it was in like I wouldn't want to say garbage time, but he was trying to create a drive. He was trying to make something happen. And they didn't have a lot of time left. You can't really fault him for that one. He really only had 1 pick outside of the first pick.
No. You can't do that, big fella. The job of a quarterback, especially in that offense.
Yeah, but the job of the defense is not to let the other team 42 points.
Yeah. Well, he don't play defense, play offense.
It doesn't matter. Your defense can't stop a team from scoring 42 points.
His job. It's
not his fault.
That's fine. His job was to go out there and not throw interceptions, so my defense don't have to be on the field more because they're giving up touchdowns. You can't turn the ball over. So you can't be the reason to.
Yeah. So by your logic, he only threw 1 interception.
No.
There's 2. There's 2 in the box score.
Yeah, the box score says 2, but if I throw an interception with 15 seconds left trying to get down the field, that really doesn't matter that much.
We don't talk about ifs.
I'm trying to chase the game here. I'm trying to chase the game here. What really matters is your defense couldn't stop another team from scoring.
So why when the Saints came marching and you couldn't beat them, and he turned the ball over again? The problem with Gardner Minshew is he turns the ball over, and he wanted to be a superstar. He went to the coaching staff and said, "Oh yeah, why can't I start? Or what I got to do to start? Be better. You can't. I don't care what time it is. Like you can't lose the game. You can't show a pattern of turning the ball over to teams we should beat. We just beat this team. And if you want to say, all right, well, that 1 interception is late in the game, but the interception that you did have still cost us. Even if you want to say my defense shouldn't let up the points, you're giving them an opportunity to score more points. Period. You can't do that, especially when the guys you want to challenge to start
that same
isn't doing
game.
that.
That same game, Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions, so it's kind of nullified.
Nah, not when Dak won.
Dak won because his
Dak
defense.
won.
Dak won because his defense is slightly better. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Who went to the Super Bowl?
I agree with you, but I'm just also telling you that like you're getting him a lot of crap. It's something he can't control. You can't control the fact that your defense just wanted to not show up for a game.
You know what he can control? If he's a starter for the Indianapolis Colts, I won't make a bet, but I'll wager with you. If he's a starter for the Indianapolis Colts, he will not make it to Week 4 before they're ready to replace him.
I agree with you on that because I'm pretty sure he's not in the realm of
because he's going to turn the ball over. He's going to turn the ball over.
Probably trying to make something happen.
Shane Steichen knows exactly what's about to happen. He only gave him a job because he needs to be able to, especially when they got an Anthony Richardson
insurance policy.
He's going to teach him the offense that he's going to use, and it's an insurance policy. But Gardner Minshew, if he had an opportunity, if he was so much better than even Jalen Hurts, if you want to give him the credit that, okay, he can't control what he can't control. So why can't he beat Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts was trash? If the team he had the starters, it's not like he was playing with. I'm not complaining that he played with the second team and then that's like he can't control that. He played with the same starters Jalen did. So Jalen took crap for all season, even from Micah Parsons. Oh, is it the team or is it Jalen? Is it the team or is it Jalen? Now, Gardner Minshew get the same team. He can't control stuff. Come on now. He can't control throwing interceptions. That's his job. That's all I'm saying. And they got Marcus Mariota to replace you. They're not worried about you. Marcus Mariota. And now Tanner McKee. So I'm just saying, bro, like, good luck to Gardner there. And I mean, he could have stayed in Jacksonville if he was really nice. So I'm just saying. Anyway, the last pick was Moro Ojomo from Texas. Another insurance policy for the defensive line. Somebody who can work with, develop. He can actually play. He's got some moves. Mainly, he's going to be a run stopper. Stout at the point of attack. Good hands. Good feet. Texas dude. So, you know what I'm saying? He can fit. He's not like he's about to get moved and smacked around. He's played big level ball, big boy ball. So, pause. So, I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles understood the assignment, is all I'm saying. And they didn't have to give up too much. They still got the first round pick for next year. I mean, it's not like they're the Houston Texans who moved back up, even though I think Texans won the draft or was a winner of the draft. They didn't have to give up a first round pick next year to win the draft. So by virtue of that, and if you get at least the top 5 player and you got him at virtually 9, you won the draft. Like, you won the draft and you still added good players that could potentially start for your team. They won. So those are my winners and losers. Of course, for like I said, Philadelphia probably would get an A. But all of these are subjective. Like, we've gone back and forth, guys. Like, all of these things are subjective, and at the end of the day, these gentlemen have every opportunity to prove us right or wrong. Yep. So we'll see what happens. Gardner Minshew is buns. I can't believe it. Lord, what's out with you?
I was just trying to defend him in that instance because you're giving way too much crap for something he can't really control. I mean, that game, you're giving him shit for that game. That game's not on him. He should have won that game.
I asked you why can't he start in Jacksonville? Why ain't he starting Jacksonville?
Because he ain't the future. Oh. He's not any team's future, but he's a good backup quarterback. Don't say he's not a good backup quarterback. He's a very good backup quarterback. If I need someone to come in there and just sling it and give me some points.
Don't say win a game. You can't say win a game. That's the point of a backup quarterback. It's not just supposed to be able to look.
He ain't no Cooper Rush. He ain't no Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I give Cooper Rush the bag before I give Gardner Minshew the bag.
Cooper Rush, come on now. He beat us.
Cool. And he put up points on Philadelphia too. Wasn't like it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, almost beat the Phillies too. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Stay tuned for the next series. Back. It's time to look at the All-NBA first team, second team, third team. Who made it? Who didn't? Fellas, let me know. We'll start with Markyll. Let me know how you feel about the all rookie first team.
All right, for the rookies, I mean, for first team, obviously the rookie of the year, Boncaro from Orlando, he's going to be on that team, right?
Mhm.
Unanimous pick. Jalen Williams from Oklahoma City, who was also in the running for rookie of the year, he's on there. Love that pick. We're going to round off with Walker Kessler from Utah, Keegan Murray, Lawrence's guy from the Kings. We got Benedict Mathurin from Indiana, who started off strong, had a very strong case in the beginning to be rookie of the year. Kind of cooled down as the season progressed, but still a very good year as a rookie. Love all these picks, fellas. How you feel about all rookie first team?
I don't have a problem either. Like none of them are like Jalen Williams. He was on a borderline playoff team, like a play-in team.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it. I kind of like one of my rookies, somebody on my first team at least, to have a team that's either borderline or can make a playoffs, so that like it shows a little bit more star power. Because these first teams are really different. Like first team, second team, third team, it's very different to me. Like that's like the first guys I'm going to pick if I go out in the court, and that's going to be my other four. That's my five. Those other guys is like I want them, but like okay, they're not my ones. So I mean, I don't got no problem with it. We already talked about Paulo like hooping, Walker, because the Jazz the Jazz didn't make the playoffs, right? The Jazz didn't make the playoffs. No,
they were
Jazz
just outside. Yeah,
playing team, right?
just outside. Yeah.
So yeah, like you got two guys on this list that almost was in like playoff contention. So I like that. Like Keegan hooping, like he was on the actual playoff team. He was on the Kings. So like if you contributing to winning, I don't have no problem with it. I like the guys on the list. Yeah, hopefully one of these dudes is going to be like long-term star success. So like we talked about. So we'll see.
So
what you think?
So in the coming years, they're changing it so where that they don't designate players a certain position.
It's positionless.
Yeah.
Positionless.
So if I'm to look at this, in future terms, positionless, I would rather have Sochan, whatever, from the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
I would debatably put him over the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Williams. I mean, I get it. I get it. The Spurs weren't really that good, but consistently, game in, game out, the only reason why the Spurs were worth watching was kind of because of him. It's not. You can't really say the same for Jalen Williams for Oklahoma City. There were other guys helping him look better. So, I mean, I also won't say Jalen Williams is bad. He was good. But if we were to make this positionless, I think it's kind of easy to push maybe Benedict down to second team, push Sochan up to the first team, just because I thought he brought more to the table than Benedict did. I mean, both of those teams weren't in playoff contention, so we don't have that as a factor. And who provided more, I don't want to say firepower or thunder to my team, but the only reason people watched the Spurs a little bit was because of Jeremy. So let's not get that twisted. There's no one else on that team who's really worth the watch.
Keldon Johnson.
Who'd you say? Anyways,
come on, don't play him like that. Keldon Johnson's a good player, bro. Come on now.
Okay.
They had Jakob Poeltl until they traded him. Jakob.
So, I mean, they didn't have much on the Spurs. So, I mean, he was a good shout. I mean, Walker Kessler with the Jazz. I mean, he found a way.
Shot blocking machine.
He's found a way to make himself impactful in that Jazz team, which almost made a run for the playoffs. Paulo obviously did his thing. Keegan Murray obviously shot the most threes, made the most threes. So obviously he's got to be on here. Obviously he beat Donovan Mitchell. Let's be realistic. He's got to be on here. Mm-hmm. So the only thing I would change is if we made, like in future, positionless, which would be interesting. But I would probably move Benedict down, and I would probably push your boy Sochan a little up. I mean, the dude almost got in 6 fights this year. The fact that the guy comes in there with a hockey mentality. Love it.
Love to
Okay.
see it.
I love a hockey mentality.
The second team headed to me by Jabari Smith, Jalen Dern, Jeremy Shochan. Then we
Yeah.
have lastly Tyree Eason. So how do you feel about the second team? Like I feel like it's kind of funny to me. Like the second team has more like name recognition than the first team, but those guys on the first team contributed to at least a little bit more to their
So
actual
the
immediate
thing,
impact success or
well,
winning, I should say.
I mean, for the thing for the first team, a lot of those guys, they were on teams. You can't really say that they were, founded teams, but they joined teams that already had a foundation there, and they grew a part of that foundation. If you look at the second team is literally Piston and Rocket players. Let's not get it twisted. They're just teams that don't have any kind of foundation at all, and we're just throwing guys out there that are young and saying, "Oh, well, I hope we win this
Here's
one
some
today."
minutes. Yeah.
So they're just getting minutes. I mean, obviously they played good this season, but it's just guys getting minutes, kind of filling the rotations, trying to feel themselves out. I mean, the list is good. I mean, you have to include all these Piston and Rocket players because they played more than other rookies everywhere else in the league. They just played more.
Well, I have a choice.
Other rookies may have had a bigger impact on their teams, but they played like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. I can't include that on here when I got, 4 guys from the Rockets and Pistons playing 38 minutes, 36 minutes. It's not comparable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the second team. If I had to replace first teamer, I'm taking Mathurin off and I'm putting Jaden Ivey. I mean, after Cade went out for the season, Jaden Ivey just picked up. Yeah. He just picked up where Cade left off. He played really well the back half of the season. Had some really impressive games. So I would have probably put Ivey up there if there was. I mean, Mathurin is technically at guard, right? So I mean, positionless or not, he probably still deserve a first team nod. But second team, I mean, he deserved to be on the second team as well. Jabari Smith, if he would have shot better, he probably would have been on that first team. Yeah. So I'm not mad at it. Jalen Duren, when Bagley went, I think Bagley was down this season. So he stepped right in, played some good minutes for them. And like Lawrence said, I mean, it's pretty much just Rockets and Pistons players because they have a bunch of picks for the next couple of years. So you're going to be seeing the same teams have all rookies for the next couple of years. All right.
When
so
you just throw them out there, like, good.
Yeah. So these rookies, I mean, they're going to get some playing time on these really bad teams. So I'm all.
Do you think a superstar, like, would this incline you if you're a superstar to be like, all right, I'm going to go and play with either the Pistons or the Rockets as a free agent? Because if you trade, it's going to be trash.
No, I think they don't have like a rookie that's like, I mean, besides Banchero, but even then, he's not like, you don't know he's going to be a sure thing. Like if they had like a Zion rookie or if they had like this Wemby kid, like people are going to want to play with Wemby. So I could see whoever wins that sweepstakes, you might see a free agent just go, hey, let me go play with this kid, right? But none of these kids, I don't think so.
I think Banchero is the only one who has it, and that's only because Orlando's a nicer place to live than Houston and Detroit. I mean, he's got the location. He's got the location, and he's got some game. I mean, obviously, if I'm a guard, Banchero is probably pretty nice to play with. I mean, he's gonna give me points, so I can give him lobs up. I can feed him all night. He's gonna get his rebounds. He did that at North Carolina. He did it in the league. I think if I'm a big, if I'm an older big, I think Banchero is a really good place to go. I think Orlando is a good place to go because I got a young guy who's gonna hustle around me, and I just got to do my job, and I don't have to go outside of my job because I got a young forward right there that's playing power forward who's gonna hustle his ass off. And I'm gonna make it hustle his ass off because the dude can't even drink alcohol yet. So I'm gonna force him to hustle. So like maybe like Brook Lopez, he probably can't go back to the Bucks. He probably isn't gonna go to Orlando. But someone like Brook, he's thinking to himself, that ain't a bad look. Yeah. I can go get a nice little bag. I can get no taxation on my bag, and I can have this Paulo kid do all the work, and I just play defense.
That's how I signed my contract. Hey,
I'll play the defense. Paulo, you do all the scoring. I'll just shoot
I signed
threes
it with
every
a
once in a
QR
while.
code.
That wouldn't be a bad look, but I mean, Orlando has Wendell Carter. I mean, they got a lot of bigs on their roster. They don't really need that, but who knows what might happen.
So moving on to the all defensive, we start off first team: Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, Alex Caruso, Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year as well, and Evan Mobley. Phyllis, how you feel?
Go ahead, Lawrence.
It's the smirk for me.
I mean, I like that Brook Lopez is on this list. I don't like that Drew Holiday's on this list. I think Drew Holiday could be second team. I think he's better off in the second team. But then you look at who he's going against. If we're going to go based on position, which I think is why in the coming year position list is going to be really nice, because based on position, if you have Derek White on the second team unit, then yeah, Drew Holiday should be on the first team because he did play more minutes, probably was a little bit more valuable than Derek White in terms of per minute or usage. But I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of confused. Maybe where Marcus Smart might be. Maybe he just got a little snub. I mean, I didn't really pay attention.
Missed too many games.
Missed too many games. Okay, I didn't pay attention enough this season to really dwell in on that. I mean, it's nice to see that Dylan Brooks is on here at the second team, and he got told, "Heck no, you're not coming back." So that's an interesting thing to look forward to.
Our guy, a podcast favorite. We got to get him on. We got to get him on. You could come over here.
He might be busy learning how to speak Mandarin. So,
yo, you're out of pocket. He's trying to find a bag.
What are you talking about? That's not cool. That's messed up.
Not for the broad smackers, bro.
I mean, he's probably going to be playing with Dwight Howard. It's not be tripping.
Yo,
Tim and Howard about to go tear it up.
Hey man, Taiwan pays pretty well too.
Y'all are trash, bro. The second team: Draymond, Derek White, Dylan Brooks, OG Adebayo, and Bam Adebayo.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, Anunoby,
OG,
Adebayo. Yeah,
and
OG.
Bam. Yeah, I'm all good with the second team.
Interesting enough, there's no two guard on there. So I was looking, I'm like, oh okay. Well, you said Derek White should replace Drew Holiday, but then I was like, oh okay, Alex Caruso is a 2 on the 1 on the first team, but then there's no 2 on the second team. So they technically already did positionless with the second team.
Yeah, I mean they literally have 3 centers on the first team.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to like manipulate it, but I mean, next year probably would have been the same, right? So I'm all for the second team. Brooks was, like we've been saying, he was a really good defensive player for a good chunk of the season, so he deserves it. OG, I'm not mad about.
Same.
Bam, of course, I'm going to give, props to him. He played really well this season on defense. Pretty much every season, he's all the NBA defensive player, so I'm good with that. Derek White is like my... not like surprised because Derek White can play defense, but I think this year being inserted into the starting lineup really helped him with his confidence and gave him more like energy and willing to give more energy on the defensive side of the ball. So shout out to Derek White for, stepping up on defense.
Yeah, he did. All right. And what everybody's really here for, first team All NBA. Offense, defense, best teams are the best players in the league, period. We start off with the guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Before we get into this list, I just want to ask you guys this. Do you think Giannis should have been on any of the defensive teams? Because he was kind of pissed about that. I don't know if you saw his tweet.
I didn't see his tweet, but it's like, maybe depends on like who you're trying to take off the list.
Yeah, who you taking off? Because you're not taking off OG.
Yeah,
you're not taking off Draymond.
So this is like another question: should there be 3 teams just like All NBA for defense? Because I feel like every year, no matter what, like
get snubbed. Yeah,
for all defense, someone's getting snubbed. So another question: do you think there should be 3 teams?
Yeah, obviously. What's so hard about making a 3 team? What's so hard about it?
I wouldn't be mad also I think we talked about Mobley not actually being like, I guess in a way, as much of a defensive impact like he is, but he isn't sometimes with the rebounds. So it's like maybe I would move him to the 2, but then I still got to figure out somebody still got to come off the list. So either he comes off the list completely and I put Giannis on the second team and move somebody up.
Yeah.
Like,
But see,
it's tricky.
But that goes back to our conversation we had is defensively, they don't value the rebound as hard as we're saying they should, because Mobley's on there and Jaren Jackson's on there. Jaren Jackson won the damn thing. They obviously don't value rebounding as a defensive stat as much as they should. But in reality, if defense is taking the ball away from the offense, then if I grab the rebound from the other team, that was a defensive move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and plus, it gains possession. Like, that's how you pretty much get possession of the basketball.
I don't get
for
it.
Sure.
So they don't value the rebound as hard as they should.
Yeah,
which obviously would also hinder Giannis to a say, because Giannis will walk out there and get triple doubles, double doubles based on his rebounds. Well, obviously they don't value that. They obviously just prove to you that they don't value it as hard.
Yeah,
because he didn't make second team based on that.
I guess if I'm looking at it as a voter, if I know I'm going to put Giannis on an all NBA team, I guess they'll kind of be like, do we have to put him on both? But I mean, if he's earned it, he's earned it. So it's kind of fooly. I agree with you. It's kind of fooly.
I think they're adding another 2-way contract, so every team's going to run like 18 players deep. It's probably going to pit the league over 500 active players throughout the whole season. So what's not to add another 5 players, and that's basically the top. You're still in the top 5% of defense. I think you should reward that. It's not like you're making the percentage any worse. So
yeah, because if they add Giannis, they have to take off Bam or Draymond or something like that, and
they both deserve it too.
Yeah, they deserve it, but also they're not going to make all NBA teams. They're not going to make 1, 2, or 3. So it's kind of, you have to think of you're looking at it in two different mindsets. Like, I could take them off, but it's not really that. It's just not. It's not right. It's the best way, I guess, to put it. Because you're getting your spotlight in the first team. Now, when we talked about this for a second, we're going to move over to the NBA. All NBA teams. I mean, I'll start off the party saying, I don't understand why Jokic ain't on the first team. And if we really want to get down to brass tacks, if we can't figure out who to move because we want to keep Giannis on first team, we want to keep Embiid on first team, and we need to keep Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on first team because he deserves it. So if we have to move someone from first team to put Jokic on here, and we can look down here at the defensive list, they went positionless. So why can't this list go positionless a little bit?
Not this year, next year.
Well, let me do this. Let me do the second team too.
Kick Luka off, bro. Put him on
second team.
No, Luka.
You put Tatum on second team.
Hold on. Let me do this. Okay. Steph Curry. This is the second team. All NBA. Stephen, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, and then Jaylen Brown. To round it off, third team, LeBron James, Dame Lillard, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis, and then De'Aaron Fox. So that's your all NBA first, second, and third team. All right, fight.
I understand what you're saying, and so maybe next year it would be different. You could probably put Jokic and Embiid, but I think that's still a hard decision to make because even if we apply next year's rules to here, I don't know if I can. Honestly, I don't know who I would take off because those 5 people deserve. I mean, Jokic was phenomenal, but I mean, those guys were too. So it's just hard.
I mean, if you want to break it down, if we look at the Bucks roster and you look at the Bucks roster and you look at the Nuggets roster, okay, we scroll through this list we have here. The Bucks have 2 all NBA players. I mean, 2 all defensive NBA players.
All defensive.
So how many does Jokic have? 0. All right. So the outside of Giannis, I mean, the Bucks have Brook Lopez. They have Chris Middleton, who didn't play half the season, so let's not even count him. Drew Holiday, and I don't even know who they have those starting the team. What freaking Grayson Allen, whatever, doesn't matter. Bobby Portis, he comes in there anyways. So and Jokic is going out here playing with. So if we're gonna take away Chris Middleton, we're taking away Michael Porter Jr. because man didn't play half the season. So he's playing out there. He's playing out there with wild card Jamal Murray. Never know what you're gonna get from him. So he's playing out wild card.
Yeah.
And then he's out here with KCP. He's just defense. But did he make defensive team? He didn't make defensive team. We're out here with I really don't remember the rest of the team. Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's no slouch, but he's no world breaker or anything.
He was almost a journeyman though.
He was borderline all star this year. So I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's borderline. But so like what I'm saying is,
it's like he's all right.
Jokic is out here basically getting triple doubles every night, and we're just gonna put him on the second team. But Giannis has more talent on his team, and we put him above him. But whose team is still in the playoffs? Whose team lost to an 8 seed, bro?
So you're swap. So you want to swap? Is that what you're trying to say?
In my opinion, I would either kick off Luka, Tatum, or Giannis. Luka missed a lot of games. I don't want to kick Jason Tatum off.
His team didn't make the playoffs, so
his team didn't make the playoffs. And if you want to get down to brass tacks with Giannis, I mean the man, he got a first round exit in the playoffs.
But we gotta remember, this is regular season, so we can't count any postseason stuff. You can't count that.
If you look at it, still
Jokic got more MVP votes than Giannis did.
Well, I was gonna say if you're fair about putting Luka in, I don't feel like Luka from a regular season, his team finished better than Joker. I mean that plays out from actual seeding standpoint.
I think we gotta take it. I think All NBA is individual. I think we have to look at it like stats, how they performed. Well, I mean, we can take into account how they kind of like led their team. Like, okay, they make the team better with their play, but I think that's how I view it.
I mean, a lot of the times though, you want to get down to the brass tacks again. Luka Doncic, half his stats are stat padding. He just stat fills. He just fills the stat sheet.
Oh, you didn't like that one. Oh, you didn't like that
the stat
one.
Sheet.
Oh, you pissed him off now.
You just be filling the stat sheet, and then everyone.
Did Big Perk enter the chat? Come on now.
Oh,
come on now.
And everyone's hating on Jokic for not playing defense. Does Luka play defense? No. So why is he above him? Nobody plays defense anymore. So why is he above him? It doesn't make any sense why Luka's above Jokic.
Okay, since you said Markyll, you said by season, right? For the leaders, like this is how they're doing it. So Devin Booker, 35.9 points. He led the league in points. Jokic was fourth with 30.6. AD led the league in rebounds, 13.5. Jokic surprisingly actually had 13.3. He's number 2. Jokic had second most in assists, 9.5. You have blocks per game. AD had 3.4. Joel Embiid had 2.9. De'Aaron Fox had the most steals, 2.1. Mitchell was second. Field goals, Nick Claxton, percentage-wise, Nick Claxton was up there. Steph Curry had most 3 points made. His teammate Clay was 2. Kawhi had the most 3-point percentage, which that's surprising. But, okay, he had 60%. And then apparently fantasy points per game, Jokic was number 1 at 61.8. So Jokic has to be technically, as you said, based off the stats, on the list.
He has to be first team.
I mean, if we go positionless,
because Luka's not anywhere on these numbers. I'm just saying.
I mean, points wise, Luka's second in scoring.
It was Jimmy. Apparently, put season. Are they just doing playoffs?
You might be looking at postseason stats, but Luka's second in scoring. I'm pretty sure Luka ended with, I got it right here. Luka ended 32, 8.6 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.4 steals. So, I mean, he plays some defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, Jokic has more assists per night, and he's a big man. He's playing.
I agree. I'm just saying I'm not taking Luka.
He's playing the point guard better than the point guard is.
All right. Let's go down here.
Embiid, yes, you're right. Embiid had 33.1. Then Luka
Yeah.
was 2 at 32.
Was 2, yeah.
Sabonis had the most rebounds with 12.3. Harden had assists at 10.7. JJ Triple Jackson Jr. had 3 blocks.
Had led the league in blocks.
Steph still made the most threes.
League leader in threes.
Sabonis was also OG.
Yeah, Sabonis was still the league leader in double doubles too.
So can I spit another little thing of fire in here? If we're not including Booker on here because he missed a lot of time, then why does Damian Lillard get to be on here when he missed basically the whole second half of the season? Is it just because he had a magical stretch of like Portland? 10 games?
I guess so, but who's playing in Portland? Like he's single-handedly kept a whole fan base.
I think
involved.
So they put him in here out of pity.
Narrative.
I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions here
I think
because I don't understand how Lillard can be in here and not Booker.
I think when you look at it from that standpoint, I think when Lillard played, it was more impressive and the stat lines were better than Booker. Although Booker was what, 27.8 points a game.
Yeah.
Basically 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists. They're impressive stats, don't get me wrong, but I think Dame just when he played, he was just incredible. He had like a 71 or 72?
He had a 71, a 60, and a 50.
Yeah, so I think
I
think his highs were higher than Book's.
But but he also didn't even come close to the playoffs. He didn't come close to the playoffs.
Oh, but you just said Jokic is playing with nobody. You talk about somebody playing with nobody.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, hope that they hit on draft picks.
At one point in time, Booker this season he didn't really get to play until the playoffs with KD. So Booker's out there with Ayton and Chris Paul, and Devin Booker got his team to the playoffs, and Damian Lillard didn't even get to the 12th seed. He didn't even get to the 12th seed.
He got bums. Come on now.
But he didn't get to the 12th seed.
That man playing with legit
he got bums. Come on now.
Besides what's his name?
Anthony Simons.
Anthony Simons. Yeah.
Anthony
besides
Simons.
him, there's just.
And don't get me wrong, they have Nurkic, who's in and out, hurt. He's street clothes too. He's probably street clothes number 3. And then you got Shadion Sharp or whatever his name is.
Yes,
he's high flyer, plays defense, so he's good. They had Josh Hart, but they traded him. So just
nobody's going to go to Portland.
Yeah,
it's just that simple. No one's playing.
I see what you're saying. Booker probably should have made it, but I'm not that mad because he made it last year. So.
And it's just narratives based, man. They're just going to Damian Lillard just in some way has to still make these lists, period. Because he's just holding on for the city.
Do we have any problems with the second team? Looking at the second team, my only problem, and I might get some, some hate for this, but I think LeBron should have been second team over Jaylen Brown.
Oh,
nah.
I think that would be too much stretching the narrative. LeBron's a dog, but he missed a good amount of the season, right? He missed how many games? He had to miss double digits.
He had to miss at least 15.
LeBron played 55.
55. Okay.
Jaylen Brown played 67, so he played 12 more.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's just Jaylen Brown. It's not like that's what it sucks about these lists, because it's like, oh, if you say this guy deserves it, you're saying this guy's better. I'm not saying he's better. It's just at this moment in time, for the season that they had, playing 12 more games, and his team ended up finishing the season at a better rate, at a better seeding. Isn't that what it's about? So, and it's not like he's a scrub. If Jaylen Brown was just a product of Jason Tatum, you got a point. But it's not like that. Half the time it's Jason Tatum might be a product of him.
Yeah,
I'm taking Brown off.
They mirror each other so well.
He said that so easy. He said, "I don't care what you talk about, bro. I don't care what you talk about, bro."
I'm taking Brown off, and then when we look at the third team, I am taking Randall. I think Randall should not have made All NBA.
So who makes it instead of Randall?
His teammate Brunson.
Yeah, Jalen didn't make a list. Actually, yeah,
So
no, that's disrespectful.
in my
If
opinion,
I
I
give you
would.
that,
I mean, you should probably replace him if we're gonna go position by position. You should replace Lillard with Brunson.
Oh yeah, because Randall's a forward. Okay, so if we do that,
Because Lillard didn't even play half the season.
Maybe I stretch Booker and make him a forward. Maybe
move him over some.
Or I mean, Randall had a good season. Don't get me wrong, but is he All NBA third team? I think he's just an All Star. I don't think he's an All NBA player. I mean, let's keep it real. Do you guys think so?
Julius Randle is an all-star, not an all-NBA. I'll give you that. Like he hit a shot last night. He hit a 3-point shot. Some try to do a little sham on him, like a step back three. This man was legitimately surprised that joint went in. That is a non all NBA player if I ain't ever seen one.
And he walked too, but they didn't call it.
So based on this, if they put Lillard on here, I would replace Julius Randle with Anthony Davis.
I'm not mad, but
because I think that's if Lillard can miss half the season, then Anthony Davis should be taking Randle's place.
And LeBron.
I think, yeah, that's kind of giving into the same. No, not GOAT. I think we're giving it. I think that's kind of the same conversation about LeBron replacing Jaylen Brown. It's okay. Anthony Davis replacing Julius Randle. I mean, it's more or less the same thing, right?
No.
Oh.
LeBron, he said, "Oh."
LeBron deserves to be on that third team. LeBron should just be happy he made the list. Let's just call it like that.
What other player do you know in year 20 made an All NBA team? This man has made All NBA for 19 years.
Bayless is going to say, Michael Jordan played and won defense. What he won, defensive player of the year at age 34 or something. Like
he'll say something crazy.
He'll say something. He'll say Michael Jordan could come back right now and he can make All NBA 13. That's what he's saying.
Come on now, year 20, age 38, all-time leading scorer, 19 years straight, All NBA. This man has made All NBA before iPhones came out. Come on now.
He has. He really has, man. Now you just aged everybody.
I'm just saying, man. I'm kind of on that.
You and I skip Bayless group chat.
No, I'm kind of on. I'm kind of on that Shannon Sharp twine, where Shannon Sharp saying that Anthony Davis is technically the head. And should be the one that should be is the best player on the team now. LeBron has given him that reign, so he should be.
That should have been years ago. I agree with you on that.
So he should be over here above James.
To him, but I can't trust him. It's like you have a child, and I say, "Oh yeah, well, you can have your cell phone," but I have a whole bunch of parental blockers on there because I cannot trust you.
Got all them
LeBron still gotta be on the sideline with his clothes. Telling you,
gotta hold his hand.
He said, "Don't this up." Like, dog, bro. Like,
don't you walk back there? Get in that wheelchair.
Like, he can't trust this man.
Get in that wheelchair.
This man get hit in the head. I told my wife, I was like, "Yo, basketball players can be so soft,
so dramatic.
NFL players' job is to get hit in the head." This dude hold his head. I know, it's not a small dude. I know the circumstances, but I'm just saying, it's like, come on, bro. You always hurt. You always hurt, bro. And they have the series like they're one game away from finishing this.
And when he got hurt, they were only down by I think they were down by 12 or 13 when he got hurt. Yeah, still could have won.
Technically, he probably should have been out the game, but that's a topic for another day.
So, I guess I'll chime in again and bring it back to the forward podium.
Okay.
Would you replace Lillard with Anthony Edwards?
No.
Ant-Man need to be Ant-Man could be on some lists. He could be a throwaway list, but I don't know about this.
So Anthony Edwards doesn't deserve 13?
He deserves a list. Nah, I'm with you, though. I see where you're trying to get at. Like, he deserves to be somewhere.
He got his team to the playoffs, and you can't say because he had Towns. He didn't have Towns. He has good numbers for the season.
But his numbers were worse than Booker. I'd rather have Booker before I have Edwards on there.
But I'm just going on here. I'm just saying. you shouldn't be allowed to miss half the season and still make.
If we're not gonna put Booker on there, we damn sure ain't gonna put that man on there. Come on now.
This is not what we're gonna do.
I'm just throwing names out there, okay? What about Trae Young? Would you throw Trae Young on there?
They started off really bad, so I don't know if I can put him on there.
And Trae not a two-way player, so I mean I know there's some guys on this list that are not two-way, but like he's legitimately he can. I don't know if he can ever be a two-way player.
Yeah, I mean he was third in assists, scored 26, but yeah, I think we have to kind of factor in a little bit of defense. I mean, some of these guys have at least some steals and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And then for my last one, I'll pitch it at you. Is it disrespectful that Markyll Bridges didn't make third team or at least defensive team?
Too late in the season for me. I feel like he blossomed just too late. I feel like if it was he had got traded early on, then yes.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that either. Next season, he got every opportunity. 100%. I'm more with you. Like Jalen Brunson, he got robbed.
Yeah,
he got robbed of All-Star and All-NBA.
Yeah, he got robbed. He got hoed.
Yep. I mean, because in terms of ranking, Markyll Bridges is higher than Donovan Mitchell. I mean, John Morant is higher than Donovan Mitchell, but
we know why John.
We know why. We're not going to put John on here.
You know why John can't.
We know why.
I don't think he could get a vote in a while for something. Oh man,
he cost himself $36 million. So you might need some parental blockers on Instagram.
Nah, I'm not giving him a phone. No, I'm not giving you a phone. I saw what you did. I'm taking your phone. You ain't never getting it back, bro. You better go get your own. So that recaps our All NBA first, second team. We had some spicy conversation, but let's close it out, fellas, with rapid fire. Stay tuned. Let's finish it off with rapid fire. We'll start off with NFL strength of schedule. And the scheduling, we went back and forth a little bit about this period.
Off camera.
This has been a topic. Yeah, this has been a topic off camera. So, fellas, how do you feel about the strength of schedule? Currently, the Philadelphia Eagles have the toughest strength of schedule. And the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl winner, is in the middle of the pack with their strength of schedule. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the schedule and how it's done?
I'll go first. Just took a look at this earlier today, and I sent it to the group chat. We had our discussions, but I think this is the second time in a year or second year in a row that the loser of the Super Bowl has had a stronger schedule than the actual winner, which I think for me is a problem. This is very subjective, so take it as you wish. But I think if you are a winner of the Super Bowl, you should have objectively a stronger schedule than everyone else. But I know the way the scheduling has been done, it's a tradition, has to be done a certain way. So I understand it's just pretty much the luck of the draw. Do I like the luck of the draw? No, I think there's ways to improve. But so far, I mean, just looking at the strength of schedule, it's just not doing it for me. I don't like to see Eagles, at the top, Cincinnati and Chiefs at the, middle of the road. And then we have some of these bad teams like Commanders, Rams, Raiders, Cardinals in the upper echelons of the strength of schedules, which it is based off of last year, so we don't know how teams are going to perform this year. But if we use last year as an indicator, it's not looking too good in my opinion. Lawrence?
Yeah. No.
I mean, I look at it like more the traditional standpoint. I mean, we'll get into this in a little bit. I think me and Tevin did come up with the most game-breaking, greatest way to make a schedule ever. We did get heated and we fought a little bit, but I think the way we broke it down to each other, I think it works out perfectly, in which I think maybe that's the way they should do it. In terms of like the strength of schedule, though, like you also have to think, why do the Eagles have the hardest schedule? I mean, there's a reason why Eagles, Giants, Dallas, and Commanders are all in the top 10. And it's because they value that conference so highly, because that conference did really good last year. I mean, they had the division finished with 3 guys in the playoffs. So obviously the division's good. So they have to play each other 6 times. So they're automatically going to be slighted by that. And if you look at it in a different light, the Eagles are playing the best 3 teams in the NFC. Okay, who are the best 3 teams? We got Minnesota. Are the Minnesota really that good, though? No, but the record said they were really good. The record said they were really good. But they actually had their point differential, they had a negative point differential. So they weren't really that good of a team. They just won a lot of games. So then they're going to have to play the 49ers. Okay, fair. 49ers are pretty good. And then they're going to have to play, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, we're looking at that, like, are the Buccaneers even a good team this year? No, they're taking a massive step back. So we can't really count that. And so then they're going to have to play there's certain AFC divisions they play on rotation. Unfortunately, they got the short end of the stick and got a really good division. The division they got is the other division that's at the top, which is the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and Bills. It just was unfortunate the way that worked out. But if you look at it, basically the teams that are the two divisions that are playing each other in separate conferences are basically make up the top 8. That's just how it works out. And that's just because both of the divisions weren't bad last year. But you're also going to have to look at it in a different light. Like, not all 8 of these teams that are basically in those conference or in that divisions are going to be that good this year. Like we said in the draft, I think the Cowboys take a step back. The Commanders have Sam Howell as their quarterback. I don't know how the heck you think they're going to be that good this year. I don't know how the heck do you think they're going to be that good this year. And, Daniel Jones wasn't very good until last year. Now that you gave him some money, is he going to be good again? When you pay a guy a lot of money, they tend to not be good right after it because you just gave him the bag. So what does he have to play for? He got the bag. So are the Giants going to be as good? I don't know. We think the Dolphins are really good. Okay, outside of Tua, who's their quarterback? Mike White from the Jets? Okay. We gave Gardner Minshew crap earlier for throwing interceptions. Mike White loves to throw interceptions. So the Dolphins are the Dolphins really going to be moving forward that much? No. And then the Patriots are going into this season with the offense really didn't get better. The offense is slow as heck. The offense is slow. I mean, let's just face it. The offense is slow. There's no speed on the offense. It's boring and it's old, but it used to win games, but that's not NFL's play anymore. And now we're looking at the fact that Belichick still hasn't adapted to the new way we're working in NFL here, okay? We're about speed. His team lacks speed. So the Patriots aren't going to be that good. Now, the only teams that the Eagles are really going to face on this schedule that should be, extremely hard are the Bills, which some of us don't value the Bills as highly as other people value the Bills. And the Jets. But we're going to value the Jets even higher because last year they were a good team with Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, and Mike White. They got Aaron Rodgers now, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to be fantastic. He just has to be good. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers' whole career has been good. So what's wrong with it? I don't see there's anything wrong with it. Now, what I have a problem with, and when I told you guys, is the fact that the primetime games, like, there is a lot of primetime games out there to give teams. But like I said, and me and Tevin went over it, ain't no way the Los Angeles Chargers should be the second most primetime team. Nobody wants to watch that. And okay, you can say it's because of the Los Angeles market. We have the market because of Los Angeles. The Rams have two. The Rams have 2 primetime games. That's fair. The Rams should get 2 primetime games. That's fine. But like the fact that the Commanders get 1 primetime game, the Texans get 0 primetime games. Dude, they just had the 2nd and the 3rd overall pick. No primetime game. Bombs. So how are we ever gonna show these guys off? We're not. Arizona has 0 primetime games. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see Kyler Murray. He's supposed to return week 13. Let's throw Kyler Murray on a week 16 primetime game so he can go balls to the wall. People need their moment to shine.
Break his other knee.
Yo.
So I mean, there's just certain teams who get way too many primetime games. Like the Packers are on here with 5 primetime games. Packers suck. Let's just straight up say it. The Packers suck.
5?
5.
5 is a little much, yeah.
5 is very
The
much
Bengals have 4 primetime games, and they win the AFC Championship game. What the?
We don't ever get love, so I expect that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like Chicago Bears have 4.
Bears Nation.
Nobody
like
wants
you
to.
said,
No one wants to see Justin Fields.
I do. I want to see him outrun that rest of the team.
I would like that. I think it's because, like you said, it's based off of how they're doing this tradition of the schedule. It's like if we're going to put like the Philadelphia Eagles, if they have the Philadelphia Eagles on their schedule, or if they have the Kansas City Chiefs on their schedule, by virtue, because those two teams were in the Super Bowl, you're going to be in a playoff game because you have them on your schedule. So it's just it's an unfortunate way of because of how they do the schedule, which is something like you said all we were talking about. And my proposal is that if you're going to have this schedule, it needs to be flipped. Like, let's bump tradition because you already changed like how many games we play, how much money folks is getting paid, coaches can get traded. Like, a whole bunch of stuff has changed. How many teams even make the playoffs has changed. Streaming deals, like a whole bunch of stuff is different about this league. Folks can smoke weed now. Josh Gordon is like, are you serious?
Making a comeback. Come on now.
Like, bro, come on, are you serious? So, like, what I would propose is that you can keep, of course, you play your teams in your division, which is something that we also will talk about. Maybe we can get into it another day. Like some of these teams in these divisions kind of don't make sense, like Dolphins in the AFC East. Okay. But if you're in the NFC East, you play the AFC East. So you already know, like off the rip, that's who we're going to play. Then you can do, of course, you have to play your divisional opponents. So that's 6. So you already got 10 games off rip. Then you can keep your rotation where you play the AFC West every 3 or 4 years, whatever the case may be. And then you have the other 3 games that are left, which will be your San Francisco 49ers or your Kansas. Well, if you didn't play the AFC West, your Kansas City Chiefs, whatever the case may be. Like, you have a better system in place so that the Kansas City Chiefs aren't sitting there with the 15th best schedule or 15th toughest schedule, and then the Philadelphia Eagles team that lost the Super Bowl have the toughest. When even if we can justify it on paper, like they're not really going to play that many tough teams, just by virtue of knowing that, like, you're going into a whole season thinking every single week, as it should be, right? We can win or lose a game, but realistically, like, everybody doesn't look at it that way. Like, the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to look at every single game like, yeah, we're going to be in a dogfight. It's just based off of what we're looking at for numbers. Like, they do this for a reason. So, I mean, if that's just like how they do it, it's just ugh.
Yeah, here's how we drew it up. It's pretty hard to see, but okay, NFC. So let's just use NFC South for example. Yeah, NFC South 6 games. NFC South. Then your AFC rotation game. That's 4 games. That's 10 games. So then, okay, Buccaneers finish first. They play all first gamers. All the teams that finish first in the NFC. That's 3 games. So you got 4 extra games. So the NFC South should play the AFC South every year. That automatically makes you play the best team in the AFC South every single year. And you get to play the worst team in the AFC South every year. But it trades off, like you said earlier. If all the South teams play in the South every year, they don't have to travel.
Yeah, the geographics make so much sense. Like Tampa Bay, and you're playing in Jacksonville. And then you got a fan base. Like, the fan base is not strained because you want to make these games that only happen every 4 years anyway. It's a freaking unicorn. You might as well, like, well, I'm a Florida team, you're a Florida team. Hey, why don't we play a football game?
They might as well just reconference all the Florida teams in one division.
Florida. Listen, bro. DeSantis wouldn't have it.
The Florida division. The Florida division.
The Floridians. But yeah, I mean, the schedule is not favorable. I mean, it's supposed to be like, for us as the fans, I'm not necessarily a fan, but for the fans out there, it's supposed to be like what did it say? Christmas come early, because you know who you're going to play and all that. Yeah. And then you can like formulate how your team, even though it's not supposed to be this way, you can look on the paper and say, well, my team should be like the Bengals. We should be able to squeeze out like 12 more wins. We should be good here. this may be the loss here. Oh, we're going to London here. This might be a game where we might drop such and such. But it's never, even if they say that it's just random too, it's just never random to me. It's just not that random, because like we had talked about, which, me, Markyll, and Law, we had some agreement on this. It's like the New England Patriots were able to win championships, and if the formula is supposed to be that pretty much is not supposed to happen, how does it? We know you have a trash division. We get that, but why is everybody else so much trash that you consistently get those guys on your schedule? I mean, it's only 6 games. There should be a different way of being able to make sure, like the Kansas City Chiefs should have to play the best teams. Like, period. If they're the best team in the league, they should have the ability to play all the best teams. Period.
Yeah, 100% agree. I don't think there should be. I mean, nothing's gonna be foolproof, right? But there should be a way to consistently have a change, not only of just like who goes to the Super Bowl, but like the number 1 seeds in the conference. Like, I don't think it's, for me personally, I don't think it's okay that the Chiefs, even though they're really good, they shouldn't be the number 1 seed every single year. And part of it has to do with their strength of schedule, right? So they keep playing these types of games against like lesser opponents. They get easy wins. Easy wins turn, into, hey, I'm more favorable again number 1 seed because, hey, I won against, I won my games I was supposed to win, but I had more of them. I had more like lesser games, basically. So, yeah, maybe that's a topic for another day. We can get into that.
Yeah, we should definitely hold on to that. And wrapping it up, the other James, Bronny James, has made his intentions known, fellas, of where he will be playing collegiate basketball. He will be going to the University of Southern California, USC, more affectionately known.
The Trojans.
So, how do y'all feel about Bronny making his decision? Do you think it might have been the right decision? Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was good for him. Stays close to home, USC is not too far from LA.
LeBron said, "No, you're not going nowhere, bro. You like to smoke the scummy on it."
Yeah, he wants to be able to, just like Anthony Davis, he got to stay close to him, make sure you don't do nothing,
Don't this up.
I'm trying to play with you the year after, so don't you mess up,
Come on, you guys see that the Lakers got to be able to see you.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision. I mean, he had probably a lot of schools to choose from. I mean, his top 3 were basically USC, Ohio State, and for some reason Oregon. I think if Coach K was still, I guess if Coach K was still playing, Duke would have been in his top 3, probably top 3, top 4. And personally, I think he probably would have went to Duke because him, LeBron, and Coach K just are really close. And I think that was probably always the plan, is for him to go play for Coach K. But Coach K had other plans. So
I saw no, go ahead, Markyll.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I saw a tweet that somebody said it was LeBron, Savannah, and Bronny, and they all had Ohio State stuff on. And somebody said, everyone from the Ohio State staff should be fired for this. How do you fumble the bag, bro?
Yeah, I mean, they had a good player since D'Angelo, so they definitely fumbled the bag. Bronny's at number 9 recruit in the nation. Personally, my early comps of Bronny is a more I'd say slightly more athletic Marcus Smart, who can shoot shoot way better. Bronny can really shoot from 3, plays really good defense. Is pretty athletic, not as athletic as LeBron, but he's still, in terms of athleticism, he's still there. So yeah, I think he'll complement the USC Trojans pretty well.
Law, what you think?
As someone who watches a crap ton of college basketball, I thought it was stupid, to be honest with you. He doesn't fit into the USC scheme of how they play in the slightest. So, I mean, if you watch USC last year, not one player in their team was under the height of 6'6" walking out there. So Bronny doesn't make the height requirement, basically, how they play. The Pac-12 is full of just tall, dominant players.
Yeah.
The only other team that kind of breaks that mold is UCLA. And if you ask me what his best option to go to, it would have been UCLA because they got a lot of guys who are returning back for their 5th year who are really freaking good. And let's face it, we know Bronny's a one and done. So go with the best guys you can who are going to get you the most highlights possible. I mean, Oregon was a better shout than UCLA in terms of coaching. There's a better coach at UCLA than there is. I mean, there's a better coach at UCLA. There's a better coach at Oregon than there is at USC.
And that Nike money real.
I mean, let's be realistic. Arizona State was probably a better shout than UCLA. I'm just going to go all full tilt here based on Pac-12 teams that he could have picked. I might go Big Ten, but he didn't choose Ohio State, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But the brother of the national championship is coaching at Arizona State. Arizona, and he's a Duke product. He played at Duke. He played for Coach K. He has ties to Coach K. Arizona State was a better shout. Arizona State would have fit you in their build way better than UCLA. I mean, not UCLA, USC. That's my only issue with him going to USC is he doesn't fit the mold of what that coach likes. Essentially, what happened was, like you said, LeBron wants to keep him close to home, wants to show him off. Well, there's probably no better place to show him off than University of Southern California. Mm-hmm. But there are better basketball schools out there for a one and done year because he's going to be a one and done. I mean, if you want to have a
hopefully.
And if you wanted to have a one and done, go to Kansas. Everyone has a great time at one and done in Kansas. Go to Kentucky. Everyone does great at one and dones. UConn, man. There's plenty of places you could have gone for one and done. I mean,
not UConn though.
Well, I don't know because you go join that UConn team. You get to join a lot of those guys who just won the national championship, and not a lot of them are going to the draft.
That's true
because they want to repeat. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of better teams you could have picked.
Yeah, no,
I don't think Ohio State was better though.
I'm kind of with you. It's like, especially because it's not necessarily a basketball powerhouse. So like the USC brand is like, it's okay. I mean, even in football, it's like, Caleb had to help it out. It's not really now Lincoln Riley. Like, we'll see. They're trying to revitalize something there. And then the basketball has just not really been like that big of a thing. DeMar DeRozan comes to mind. It's like one of the more popular guys from the past like 2 decades that have been a Trojan. So, I mean, to your point, like when you break it down like that, like there are more basketball fits. We'll see if he hits the court and makes an impact.
Pac-12.
Just in the Pac by himself. I'm kind of disappointed that not even that he didn't stay on Ohio State or he didn't go to Ohio State or whatever. I'm kind of disappointed that him and I think it's Zaire, Dwayne Wade's son, his oldest son.
Oh, Zaire's overseas. He's in Africa.
Oh, of course he is. And Mikey. Hopefully Mikey can beat his troubles. Yeah. But like none of them, I don't even think they even seriously took in consideration to a historically black college, university, HBCU. That's my only like, especially if you're gonna be one and done, you might as well like these schools actually legitimately need you. Like USC don't need you, UCLA, all of them, Arizona State, none of them really need you like that. These are some schools that actually need you, especially if you're looking at like a profile and making it all about you. Like the second one of them step on the campus, it's literally all about them. You go to USC, to your point, Law, like you don't fit the mold. It's not necessarily all about you. Like they can say like you're coming for our brand because you're not necessarily like a consensus all like first lottery pick. Like anything can happen to you while you're in college. So it's like it's that LeBron factor and the fact that like he's close to home and all that, but like you said, for basketball reasons it may not fit. And then for like brand purposes, I feel like he could have got a little bit more splash out of it, but I'm not going to knock a kid's decision. He's the first one apparently to go to college from that family. Yeah. I think Savannah, his mom went for a little bit, they said. And we know LeBron didn't because I mean he was getting millions before he even signed before he had his prom suit. So
And
I
Hummers.
mean, yeah. So it's like you straight either way. I would like it also, like you said, especially if you're going to be a one and done. I would kind of like it if you were actually staying there because he got bread. So like the fact of rushing your process of going to the league doesn't really make sense. You can sit there and develop at a good school and become like the guy, and you're not. It's not like you press for money. And he probably can rake up on NIL. So I don't know.
Already is, yeah.
Right. I don't know.
I agree with you with both of you about the one and done. Like if that's his ultimate goal and that's what him and LeBron are trying to push for, yeah, you should probably go to these. Let's go to Kansas, let's go to Kentucky, let's go to these powerhouses that are known to push out one and done. Hey, get your shine. We have a lot of national televised games. We're going to be in the NCAA tournament. Let's go that route. The HBCU route, I'm half agreeing because it would be good for someone like Bronny's caliber to go to HBCU, but I think they need, at least for the basketball side of things, they need like a prominent coach like a Dion to go to one of these schools so that kids would want to go there. Because I don't think you're gonna have kids like Bronny who's just gonna willy nilly just go to the school and say, "Hey, I'm picking Murray," or I'm picking Howard, or
especially because to your point, like how it worked out for, I think it was Thonmaker or Minor, whatever.
Thonmaker, yeah.
Thonmaker, yeah, like how that went when him going to Howard didn't necessarily like help. So like to your point, and plus it's like they need me more than I need them type of thing. But I mean, there's some schools, there's some PWI schools that he's going to go to, or he ended up going to, that it's like, do you need me more than I need you?
Yeah, it's not mutual.
So,
yeah,
it's not mutual. So
I mean,
that's
so it's interesting you bring up the HBCU school.
HBCU.
Someone just in our area, like Howard University, the fact that Georgetown fired Patrick Ewing and Howard hasn't tried to jump on that yet. I mean, Georgetown fired him. Yeah, he wasn't doing very good, but like he kept trying to bring bigs in, and we kind of talked about earlier. U.S. got to figure out what we're going to do with these big situations because
we don't got no bigs.
Because basically, the reason why it kept failing for him at Georgetown is he kept pushing his bigs to try to do better, and they were just wussies and they didn't want to do it. So I mean, if someone like Patrick Ewing is trying to recruit at like an HBCU, I think that's a big draw. That's a big attraction. Because if I'm a big boy, then I'm gonna go, oh yeah, I want to play with one of the fucking best ever.
Right.
That's a draw, and that's something you can attract people with. I mean, but going back to, I guess, Bronny here, if you look at the starting lineup for USC, it was 6'5", 6'5", 7'1", 6'9", 7'1". That's their lineup, dude. Where the heck are you putting them?
6'3", 6'4",
6'2",
6'4".
Well, it says on ESPN 6'2".
Oh yeah. So maybe they're hoping he grows to 6'4". So
it says on, this says on Healthy Celebrity, he has a 6'2" to 6'3".
Okay, so they're basically banking he's going to grow. Which, I mean, he's still young; he might grow in.
But even if he grows a little bit, he doesn't fit that mold of what that school does. What that coach does, he just
like immediately. No, you're right.
Yeah, like he's gonna have to fight for a position because in reality there is no position for you because the small guy on the court is 6'6", 6'5". Well, he's got 3 inches on you, and a lot of the times the Pac-12 plays big. They just got a bunch of tall, lanky guys out there. That means you got to fight extra hard every single time.
He could be a tall, defensive-minded point guard or combo guard.
He's just going to have to, like, to your point, Markyll, he's going to have to be a playmaker. Honestly, if that's what I'm trying to crack, if like I can't do anything about my height right now, like, and I'm not going to grow 3 inches just right by the time I get on campus, maybe not really. So if I look at it, like, he's just going to have to be a stud playmaker every time he steps on the court when he gets his opportunity. So we'll see.
I wish him the best, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Congrats, Bronny.
Congrats.
Congrats,
All
Carolina
right.
Hurricanes.
This guy. They finished it.
They finished it.
It's
I'm
over.
telling you guys, Carolina Hurricanes are winning the chip.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Place your money line wagers.
All right. Yeah, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.